Folks, welcome to a podcast about Catholic things. This is Eric, the ambassador of common sense, and I'm here with
Dan, the ambassador of nonsense. Welcome, everyone.
Hey, 2 weeks in a row. We're back on the wagon. But you know what? Next week isn't going to happen unless
next week it'll be tough because we'll be packing.
Yeah, we're going camping at Red River Gorge, but I don't know. Maybe it very well could be just you and I at the beginning of Thursday evening.
Well, that's true. So maybe we can do one from the gorge.
You and me.
Yeah.
So maybe we could just record it with our phones, and it wouldn't be too bad.
No. I'll take a battery pack.
So today we're going to talk about Fratelli Tutti. Is that how you say that?
The new encyclical. It looks like, Fratelli Tutti. You know what? Let's make it easy. We'll just call it Tooty Fruity.
That's kind of what it is. All right, we're going to call it Tooty Fruity from now on.
By the way, I can't take full credit for that in full disclosure. I think I saw that on a Twitter post. I don't recall whether it was Timothy Gordon or maybe his brother Dave Gordon, but it was somebody like that.
Well, that's okay. I think whoever said it kind of nailed it, and that's what we're going to call it from now on. Okay. Did you see how long this thing is?
I was just commenting. Yeah, it's almost 300 paragraphs long. Let's see, the last paragraph, 285, called an appeal, then 286, 287, and then he's got a prayer to the Creator, and then an ecumenical Christian prayer.
I think it's close to 40. It's over 40,000 words.
Yeah, I mean,
that's like a novel almost.
It's like a small novel. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Get turned around here. It's kind of like, it's really a lot like a lot of not just papal documents, but church documents. A lot of them since Vatican II are long-winded and generalize a whole lot. And sometimes if you take one specific part, you can kind of keep analyzing it until you get a very definite statement. And usually that statement is either meaningless or it is more and more, I don't know what to say other than wrong.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what?
You couldn't, I don't know if you could point to any specific thing here and say, no, this contradicts Catholic teaching.
Quite possibly not. You know, Francis only apparently does that, like, other than the whole death penalty and the will of God willing multiple religions thing at where was that?
I can't remember
the city where that. Yeah, the
Dubai or
yeah.
It's a weird name that I can never remember.
Al Dubai. Anyway, other than that, Francis has been kind of squirrely in those kinds of things, and he only tends to really make his very, very egregiously heretical statements apparently in the company of that. Who's that Italian reporter that keeps interviewing? He keeps granting interviews to, who keeps writing him out
I know
on,
who you're
on
talking
things
about.
like,
I don't remember his name.
Yeah,
but he keeps coming up and saying, "Okay, Francis said this, something so bad that it's hard to believe that any pope would ever say such a thing as that." But
Scalfari,
Francis,
Eugenio Scalfari is his name. Yeah,
yeah.
So from
and
Eugenio
there's never
Scalfari,
a recording.
He's the guy who's really ratting Pope Francis out. So he's got it now that Pope Francis denies that Jesus, was born divine, that he became divine or something like that. I guess some kind of Mormonism thing. He's got it that Pope Francis doesn't really believe in hell, and I think he's got it that Pope Francis doesn't believe in the devil either. That Pope Francis thinks the devil is, I don't know, like more of a
an idea, maybe, or
well, manifestation of our own interior
okay,
capacity for wickedness or whatever. I don't know. It's something like that. I mean, several things that after talking with the Pope, Scalfari comes out and says, "Hey, here's what he said." We can take Scalfari at his word or not, but it's tempting to go ahead and take him at his word when the Pope keeps granting him interviews.
Yeah,
though.
And he generally doesn't deny having said it.
Yeah, no. The strongest denial they'll do is, well, he doesn't take notes and he's trying to just capture the overall sense of what they were talking about. Well, okay, but did you say it or not?
Okay. The overall sense is that Jesus isn't
so
divine?
Did he capture it or not? So, yeah, that's...
it's sad right now.
Other than that, the Pope, he has become very squirrely about his own specific rejections of long-standing church teaching. But here's an interesting. This is the first paragraph. I mean, okay, you say you would think papal encyclical. Somebody like Pope Francis. Yeah, we think he's problematic for the church. But he comes out with an encyclical, and you'd think, okay, get past the introduction and into the meat before you start saying, here's problems and here's where I see some danger and that kind of stuff. Very first paragraph, he says, of the counsels Francis offered, I would like to select the one in which he calls for a love that transcends the barriers of geography and distance and declares blessed all those who love their brother. Now here's where he actually begins quoting St. Francis, as much when he is far away from him as when he is with him. Okay, that's reasonable. Whether it's brotherly love or spousal love or whatever, when they're gone, you still love them. It's not just like hey, you're here, so I love you, but when you're gone, I'm going to love someone else or whatever, like the song. In his simple and direct way, St. Francis expressed the essence of a fraternal openness that allows us to acknowledge, appreciate, and love each person, regardless of physical proximity, regardless of where he or she was born or lives. Okay, where's he going with this? Because what I'm reading in here is a subtle twist of St. Francis's words from when your brotherly love for your brother whom you know and are close to should persist regardless of separation of distance, into a sort of each person that's out there you need to love as a brother, the ones that are far away just as much as the ones that are close. But there's a ton more of those people further away from me than there are close to me.
I don't know if I have the capacity to love that many people. I don't.
Exactly. And so what this is a formula for the dilutionary kind of love that says, I don't actually have to be kind, act in love, act in charity to the guy sitting in front of me right now who's on the street and begging, because I've got this wide love for everybody across the globe, and I give to UNICEF and stuff like that, and that's my charity.
Yeah,
that's what this is an invitation to the mindset that goes that way. And as far as the bum that I actually encounter in the street, well, I'm going to cross over to the other side.
It's
first paragraph. This is what it seems to be implying.
Is so problematic. I mean, from beginning to end, and in so many ways, it's not just okay. Here's one. The signs of the times clearly show that human fraternity and the care of creation form the only path towards integral development and peace.
Wait a minute. Is that a quote?
Yeah.
No, this is Pope Francis talking about explaining
the
his
encyclical.
Encyclical.
He said the signs of the times. Okay, so I guess he's trying to show us that human fraternity is the path forwards.
And care of creation form the sole way toward integral development and peace. What is?
I wonder what integral development means.
Well,
we know what peace means, but I don't know. What about following Jesus Christ and the church, and
that's a good point. Human
all those
fraternity.
things that human fraternity is,
according to the Pope, is the sole way forward, not Christ.
That's not what we were told.
Christ is last. Christ is, it seems, according to this Pope, is 20th century. Now it's human fraternity and care of creation. That's the sole way forward, the sole way towards integral development and peace. You don't get peace through Christ. You get peace through human fraternity and care of creation.
Yeah,
this is from the mouth of the Pope, explaining his encyclical. So what I was putting there, what I was reading,
I think that kind of nails it.
His encyclical, the very first paragraph, it's like, well, if that's going to set the tone for me for the rest of it, I already don't like it.
Yeah. So there, I don't even know how to say this. The nature of the document, the spirit of the document is wrong. And a lot of times, ever since Vatican II, that happens a lot of times. The spirit of the document, it never comes out and explains the document sometimes. It just...
You look
you're
through
left
it and
with,
try, okay, what's
okay.
wrong with this document? Okay, well, let me read this sentence and this sentence. And so it's like, okay, I can't find something that is solid enough to drive a spike into and say, okay, here's the stake in the ground and here's where you can see it crosses the line out of Catholic teaching or something like that.
Right. But that sentence is very much against the spirit of Christianity. I mean, human fraternity is secondary, and our link with
everything
other
Jesus
men.
said. He told his followers, when the world hates you, not if, when the world hates you, remember it hated me first. He said, I come to bring not peace but division. He said, I am the way and the truth and the life. And I had another quote, but
we devote everything. We devote ourselves to fellow men only after we've devoted everything to Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, he said, seek first the kingdom of God, then all of these things will be handed to you.
Okay, another thing is he's got there. With so much there, there's some things that are just kind of silly and not show a complete lack of understanding, especially when it talks about capitalism, which it describes as Neo-liberalism, which I don't know if that's even a real thing.
Yeah, what is Neo-liberalism?
This dogma of neoliberal faith.
Is this from the document?
Yeah, this is from the document. Whatever the challenge...
Here it is. The marketplace by itself cannot resolve every problem, however much we are asked to believe this dogma of neoliberal faith. So first of all...
It can solve every market problem.
I was going to say, nobody ever said, Adam Smith never said the marketplace by itself resolves every problem. He said the marketplace is a good way to allow the general distribution of material goods of the world to find their, equitable apportionment.
What does he think we're trying to use the
and
marketplace?
Actually, that has worked extremely well for that. Nobody says the marketplace is a good way to make sure your marriage is right or anything like that.
Yeah. It's silly the way he says it.
Like I said, it's like he's arguing with somebody who doesn't exist with these.
He says magic theories of spillover or trickle without using the name as the only solution to societal. He's talking about trickle-down economics.
Yeah, this is a shot at Reagan,
and he's showing his complete ignorance because trickle-down economics works fabulously.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was starting to work again here in America before COVID.
Yeah. And here's the thing. So I think this gets to the heart of it and where this Pope is fundamentally a Marxist. There is little appreciation of the fact, not a fact, more like an allegation, that the alleged spillover does not resolve, and here's the word, the inequality that gives rise to new forms of violence. This Pope joins every other Marxist throughout history in asserting that inequality of itself is fundamentally a problem and therefore results in violence. That's the problem with this Pope and with the spirit of all of his encyclicals anywhere that they touch on economics or even politics.
I don't know if equality is ever addressed in the Bible. I don't think it is.
It's assumed that it's a part of life.
Yeah, God
everywhere
loves
in
some
the Bible.
People more than other people throughout the entire Bible.
Yeah,
and some men are greater than other men.
It's It's assumed that some men are able, unequally able, unequally rich, unequally strong, unequally handsome, or women unequally beautiful, and so on and so forth. And God chooses them unequally to accomplish His will. Now, everybody has a place to play if they submit themselves to God, but God doesn't choose everybody to have a major role in the development of His plan. He chose David. He didn't choose any of David's older brothers. Jesse had all those sons, and they kept bringing them before Samuel. And Jesse because Samuel said, well, Jesse's one of Jesse's sons going to be the next king, and so he didn't even consider David, who was out tending the sheep,
right?
And so he said, well, okay, they're all here except for David. He said, well, we won't start the ceremony until he gets here, and then he gets here, and then Samuel anointed him. Yeah, God even chooses people unequally.
Yeah.
But absolutely the circumstances of life lead to inequalities. Inequalities are not evil.
The thing is, even after the Bible, throughout history, equality really wasn't, nobody talked about it until the Declaration of Independence was written. And I don't remember hearing about it. I don't ever remember reading about this pope or that pope talking about equality, or any other governments talking about equality. It was America that decided, hey, we think all men are created equal, meaning they've all have dignity. Because they're people and because God created them.
Rights. And that's one of the things, is that equality was, I think, if you go and read past writings, it's not like anybody was proclaiming it per se because it wasn't being challenged, but I think it was an underlying assumption in a lot of Christian thought.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the things, even Paul writing in the Bible, talks about how, slaver-free, Gentile or Jew and so forth, all of them, are called to Christ. Mm-hmm. We're all equal in Christ. We're all brothers. Actually, there's your Christian equality. But he never said, therefore, set the slaves free and ignore the difference between Gentile and Jew and so on and so forth.
Or between Hebrew and Greek and
Roman.
Said that,
you all are who you are, but in Christ you're all brothers. That's what that was the equality. And that's basically the same equality of the American Declaration of Independence.
The equality is that we have equal chance to gain heaven.
Yeah.
And we have equal chance to lose it as well.
Right.
Because we're all equally sinners.
Is concerned, this Pope sees evil in the inequality of socioeconomic outcomes. He sees that as a source of evil. It almost seems like he sees it as the source of evil.
He does such a poor job of tying any of it to real religious discussion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can't point to any real theology and say this is why we should be doing this. He just rejects the things that he believes causes economic inequality.
Yeah. And And again, I'm going to keep attacking his underlying assumption that economic inequality is itself some kind of evil. It isn't.
Right.
And
right.
now, poverty and destitution are evils. They're particular evils in particular, circumstances and times and places, and we should work to alleviate them where we can. But inequality is not itself an evil.
Sure. And even sometimes destitution, when you try to help some people and they simply will not be helped.
Oh, right.
You
got to let them.
You got to let them
right.
suffer. But the equal opportunity is the American way, and that only exists with the unequal outcome.
Mm-hmm.
It can't. The equal opportunity doesn't really exist in places like Russia and stuff like that because there is no opportunity. It's equal because no one has it. Period. Yeah, it's the whole thing is, and there's 40,000 words of it.
Yeah,
one of the big questions is how much does this thing have any teeth? Does it mean anything actually?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, when we're trying to prove a point to someone in a religious discussion, we go through encyclicals. When we bring up encyclicals and say, see, the Catholic Church teaches
here's
this.
What this Pope said,
and
here's what this Pope said, and you've got 3 different popes saying it, and so clearly the Catholic Church believes it. Yeah.
Right. But with this, now this Pope is saying a whole lot of things that don't make any sense, but some things that kind of directly go against what other popes have said. Mm-hmm. For example, we've got the concept of just war. In the footnotes, footnote number 242 says, St. Augustine, who forged a concept of just war that we no longer uphold in our own day. I didn't know his concept of just war had changed. I mean, when...
Yeah, no, I mean, we still uphold that. Yeah, there is a concept of just war, and it is the one formulated by St. Augustine.
So what do we...
it's been re-expressed by other doctors of the Church over the years, and there may be some cases where it's difficult to analyze a certain situation in the context of the criteria for a just war that St. Augustine put forth. No, I'm not sure that... I don't know who we is. He says that we no longer uphold.
Yeah, we no longer.
I guess one way to read that is that he forged a concept of just war and men have forgotten it and they no longer practice it. Okay, I'll buy that. I think some of the wars that America has been in have not been just wars. Okay, I'm willing to say that. But I don't. He says we no longer uphold. I don't know if he means we don't uphold the concept as being true, or we don't uphold ourselves to being morally obliged to follow the concept. Given this Pope, I think he probably means we no longer uphold the concept as being true.
That's what. Again, you can't point to this specifically and say.
Yeah, that absolutely he's denying this or affirming that or whatever.
Never again. Well, we can no longer think of war as a solution because its risks will probably always be greater than its supposed benefits. Okay, so the Civil War, we should not have fought that. We should have allowed...
Instead, we should have let slavery go unchecked in the American South.
I guess so. In view of this, it is very difficult nowadays to invoke the rational criteria elaborated in earlier centuries to speak of the possibility of a just war. I think it's easier than ever because of... Look, we found out what Hitler was doing. Are you going to say that wasn't a just war?
Yeah, I think he would be the one to say, well, let's dialogue with Hitler.
I guess so.
I guess that, I mean, let's put this encyclical in the context of certain parts of history. Let's dialogue with Hitler.
Yeah, you can't dialogue with Hitler.
Yeah,
not in any way, shape, or form. You just got to beat him. You have to. Same with Stalin, and we did defeat Stalin. Well, Stalinism, but in a different way.
Yeah,
we didn't go to war directly.
Delayed way, right?
But we did defeat it. Marxism, and here it is again, kind of eating us from within, as Our Lady of Fatima predicted.
Yeah, I keep thinking about that. She said Russia would spread her errors throughout the world, and these errors. I mean, okay, Putin, I think, is pretty much a Marxist, but I mean, Russia isn't even a serious or credible purveyor of Marxism in the world anymore. Nobody considers them a big Marxist threat in the world today.
Right.
And yet, but Marxism is popping up everywhere.
Yeah, it's her errors.
Like Mary was absolutely right. The errors are spread throughout the world, even after the empire was reduced from the Soviet Union to what is now just Russia. Now, not to belittle that, Russia itself as a country spans 8 time zones, but
the
you know, it
the
Soviet
USSR
Union
was such an incredible failure.
Yeah,
which should have ended this whole idea of Marxism, but it didn't. It somehow crept into America, and it's kind of eating everything now.
It's like it went underground for what, a generation,
50 years, yeah,
ish, and then and now the people who are out there able to talk about it, they have no real knowledge of it. They don't know what they're advocating. Apparently, this Pope doesn't either, because it seems to me that he's in some manner advocating Marxism here.
Yeah, I don't know what else.
When I read the first paragraph,
I mean, he talks about globalism and stuff like that. With increased globalization, what might appear as immediate or practical solution for one part of the world initiates a chain of violent and often latent effects that end up harming the entire planet, like allowing
harming the planet?
China.
What does that mean?
Like allowing China to trade with us? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I guess that could be a. Well, you know what? To me, the answer is to decrease. We need to decrease globalization and restore ourselves to a system of national boundaries and national entities that are interacting with each other,
so that each country is looking out for their own interests and saying, "No, wait a minute, you're not going to come here and dump your waste,"
and the interests of their own people. But you know what? You in order to accomplish that, in order for that to work, you need people running countries who themselves think nationalism is a good thing, who think that it's good for me to be part of this country and my country to interact with that other country. Now, there's one place in the world where I know that this concept absolutely does not exist, and it's called China. China doesn't believe that all the other countries should be run like China. China believes all the other countries should be run by China. And China is this Pope's favorite country, it seems.
Well, we've got we almost ought to do a show about what happened in China with the church and how Pope Francis kind of betrayed the sellout, the Catholics in
the history leading up, and then the sellout. Yeah,
I'd have to do more research about it because
that will be a whole show.
It's an incredible betrayal
story. Yeah,
it's just
and
sad.
It's like how I mean, I think about this Pope. It's like he has to go through a day. He's a human being with a brain, and he knows what he does, and he goes through these times day by, and he says these prayers, he invokes God, he invokes Jesus, and that kind of stuff. But then, like, the way he treated the church in China and betrayed them and stuff like that, it's like, what thoughts go through his head that allows him to sit easy with himself? I don't get it.
I don't know how. Yeah, I don't understand how. I mean, does he look at himself and say, "Well, Does he have some kind of reason to think that he helped the people of China?
I did it for the environment or something?
I don't know I wonder about things like that. I mean, all these Democrats in America right now, the guy next door to me doesn't think that he's harming the country.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess just a lack of education, but the guy in office has to know what this is doing. We look at states like California, and see how bad it is. I don't know what's going through people's heads, but there was a long time where we looked at people, both in the church and in politics, and we said, that, okay, we got to give them the benefit of the doubt. This person is trying to help, and they're either confused or ignorant. And I think at this point, I guess we have to start saying it doesn't really matter whether they have our interests at heart, whether they have, it doesn't matter whether or not the priest really thinks these things are going to help his parish, or our Pope really thinks this is going to help his church. We have to start realizing that either way, no matter what he thinks, what he's doing is wrong, and it has to be stopped, or we have to fight it.
Yeah.
Whether in every way possible.
Whether he sincerely thinks it's right or not, yeah.
There was a time maybe where our fighting it was discussion and talking about and bringing up issues, but right now we fight it by voting, but I think the time is going to come where we can't just fight it that way. We have to fight it in a more substantial way.
Mm-hmm.
At least with our money. I mean, if you're giving money to certain...
I don't give money to...
I don't know. Almost to the church at all anymore.
I know. I give money to my new parish, which is Holy Rosary, in downtown Indianapolis. I need to check and find out... some parishes, like when I used to go to Old St. Mary's,
mm-hmm.
It was at the time and I was given to understand by somebody who knew, classified as a mission parish, and as such, it did not have to pay the typical collection tax to the diocese. It was able to keep all of its money in the parish and use it for parish work and so on and so forth. I would almost urge Catholics to go find a mission parish to belong to if there's one in your area. Now, it may not have a nice conservative mass the way Old St. Mary's did, but at least you would know that your money is going to immediate local needs and so on, and honestly probably going much more directly to the poor and so forth.
Yeah. I don't. I love St. Mary's Mass, Old St. Mary's Mass, but there's. I don't know what to say. We have to start fighting this wherever we find it, and it's coming close to the point. Well, we can't just fight it with words now. We have to do other things to fight it, like choosing where you put your money.
Yeah, money is a big one. That everybody
certainly how you vote.
Everybody can use their money. They can control where their money goes, and everybody can vote. No excuses on those two things.
Yeah,
I mean, I understand a lot of people. And I hear these stories and stuff about hey, it's your job to evangelize and talk to other people about Christ. Yeah, I believe that, but gosh, I sure don't know how to do it. It's like I am the one guy who will pick the worst situation in which to bring something up, and so that makes me fearful of doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like, okay, I admire other
every
people.
Every time I open my mouth
and somebody else is doing it and taking the lead, I can happily chime in and help out.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, as far as like talking to the guy on the bus or whatever. Forget it. I don't mean forget it in the sense that I'm not willing to, but it would be the wrong thing for me.
Yeah. I came with an instruction manual, and all it says in there is open mouth and insert foot.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not good at reading people, but I don't... I don't know what else you can say about that. What you got?
The
another
different
quote?
Religions. So this is in chapter 8. We're towards the end, paragraph 271. The different religions. Here we are on different religions again. Based on their respect for each human person as a creature called to be a child of God, contribute significantly to building fraternity and defending justice in society. By the way, the title of this chapter is Religions at the Service of fraternity in our world.
Wow.
Which, again, it's like, okay, that's how he sees religion.
Is that what
right?
our religions serve?
That's how he sees religion. Here's
the
dialogue
service of fraternity.
Yeah, that's what religion's for. Dialogue between the followers of different religions does not take place simply for the sake of diplomacy, consideration or tolerance. In the words of the bishops of India, I don't know what this comes from. There's a footnote that probably cites it. Yeah, I don't know. But here's the quote that apparently the Pope approves of, because he's including it in his encyclical. The goal of dialogue is to establish friendship, peace, and harmony, and to share spiritual and moral values and experiences in a spirit of truth and love.
I thought
that is such
dialogue
a meaningless.
Was,
convert people to
evangelization.
Christ. Yeah, get people to love Christ. That's what it's for.
We have a understanding of God that no one else has, and we have a path to God that no one else has, and it is imperative that we share that with other people, and that's what dialogue is. I mean,
that's what I guess you could.
You can do it through friendship. Quote, you could,
right?
But that's not the purpose.
Yeah, friendship can aid in dialogue. I see it the other way around. Friendship can be of service to religious dialogue. So I can become a friend with someone, and I can generally be friendly to all people, which I try to do, so that if opportunities come up, then I'm in a good position to, invite them to move closer to Christ. But
religion's at the service of fraternity
in our world. Yeah,
that's not what we should be at service of. I mean, we serve Christ. That's what the whole religion is for.
Yeah,
to learn how to serve Christ.
And in Christ, everything else is provided. But Christ knew that wasn't going to happen in this world. He said,
only in as much as
you.
Everything else is His creation, and we honor it, the fact that it was His creation. That's where the honor comes from.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even this whole what his quote? Clearly, signs of the times show that human fraternity and care of creation is the sole way.
The only path towards integration.
Yeah, the sole way. Creation.
No other way you can do it.
Belongs to Jesus. And Jesus already said, seek first my kingdom.
I am the way, the truth, and the life.
Now, I know that there's a lot of messiness in how you carry that out in the world, depending on, various things that are going on. But to just throw that as secondary and say the sole way forward is human fraternity and care of creation seriously puts the cart before the horse.
Yeah. So these things like this come out, and then a couple things happen. Number one, it's going to be the first challenge is, does this have any real strength as as something we can point to as church teaching? And I
can't.
I don't know enough about it to say whether it does. I assume people are going to come out with legal arguments against this.
Yeah, I'm sure. And encyclicals generally are, even though they're addressed to the whole church, they're not usually meant to define anything, doctrinally or anything like that. So, it's just an encyclical is supposed to be a friendly letter from the Pope, and shouldn't be, generally speaking, shouldn't be treated as anything but that. Nonetheless, they are significant, especially in these days, and popes ought to be aware of, and certainly this pope is. Well, this pope has an agenda, and I think
it's kind of well defined here.
Yeah.
The next part of it is just going to be just outlining all the problematic statements within it, which this one's a doozy. I barely skimmed through it. The quotes that we've brought out,
Yeah, I mean, we're just like,
they're just things
stopping
I kind of
here and there and let our eyes fall on words, and we're coming up with this stuff. We're probably not even coming up with the worst of it. Yeah.
If it were my job to go through here and find all the problematic statements, I think I could make a career out of it, because it's
you'd it's like, okay, how many months do you want to pay me to do that?
Yeah, this is just terrible. And again, one of the big things here is the hit against America, because they keep talking about saying, no, this is not about America, but this is about America mostly, and it's about immigration. A lot of it.
That's another good point. This Pope has decided that, not probably decided as Pope. He probably, this is probably part of his upbringing in South America. That globalization is the way. And that borders are artifacts that need to be done away with, and that the United States specifically, both for its nationalism and for its commitment to, and perhaps even more so for its rather extreme success in free market economy. I mean, gosh, America has achieved a greater distribution of wealth, and I don't mean a distribution in the sense that, the lowest classes have close to as much as the highest classes of people. What I mean by distribution is that we create immense volumes of wealth, immense amounts of wealth that then are available to almost everybody in the country to live.
Yeah.
I mean, they might have to work for it, but it's there. We have a system that allows people to acquire, that allows anybody to acquire. You don't have to be born into a rich family in order to acquire a living in the United States and to live in a perfectly dignified, situation.
Right.
And I mean, you don't need Bill Gates's mansion in order to consider yourself to have a dignified life, right? In America, we give almost everybody the opportunity for a dignified life through our free market system.
If I live in the slums and I decide I'm going to go work at McDonald's and I'm going to work my butt off until they make me an assistant manager, and then they'll send me to school, and maybe I eventually become store manager, and then I save up enough money because I'm working all these hours and I'm not spending it, and I can buy my own store. All this is possible in the U.S. It's not possible in other places.
That's true.
You can't just do that in other places. In America, sometimes it's hard, and a lot of people work hard and then they fail anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's not.
It's fairly easy to start a business in America. I mean, if you're, there's often a couple of county requirements if you're going to be, involving significant properties that the business owns. Then you might have to register, and they might have some property taxes that are separate for your business. But, I heard that in India, for example, just to contrast, it might take years from the point that you decide that you're going to do it and start filing paperwork. It might take years before you actually have a business.
I start businesses like 2 or 3 times a year. I have started and failed in so many. It would boggle your mind how many businesses I've started.
Well, see, and that's the point. I mean, in America, you just do it.
Yeah, you don't even think about it.
I mean, it's if your business achieves a certain level of income, then some requirements,
Yeah, then you got to start paying attention to things.
But you just do it. And there's other countries where you're not allowed to. And then there's other countries of the world where you might start a business, and once it gains a certain amount of success, the government comes in and says, oh, nope, that's ours.
Yeah. I mean, in America, a 12-year-old, his dad buys him a lawnmower, or he gets one at a yard sale, and suddenly he's a businessman.
Business. Yeah,
he goes to the neighbor and say, "Hey, I can mow your lawns." He can
print up flyers and time the doorknobs and
He doesn't even think about it as starting a business, but that's what it is.
He's just going out and making money. Exactly. That's in America. You can do that. We have created a system where people can do what they need to do to live a dignified life. Now, there's a lot of people who choose not to do it. There's a lot of people who choose extra legal means of doing it. I'm talking about gangbangers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And yes, there are some people who lack the capacity. Those are the people that we, have developed the welfare state for, to try to look out for and that kind of stuff. And then because we have to look out for them, sure, I'll even grant it as a moral political imperative. Because we have to do it, then you've got a whole lot of people who abuse that and go ahead and just kind of ride on it and stuff like that. Yeah, that's actually our worst problem in America. The free market, in fact, is what allows us to be so generous in those things.
Right. If you go to China and you get a new lawnmower and you go to your neighbor say, "I'll mow your lawn for X dollars," you'll get put in jail. You can't do that. You don't transfer money between citizens.
Yeah, because
all services come from the state.
You could do that, or if it's more like you go and you say, "Well, I'll cut your lawn for X dollars," and they say, "No, I'm going to report you to the local procurator because the cost of mowing lawns is this much, and that's how much you have to charge me," or something like that. It's something stupid like that.
It's a different world.
Yeah, completely different. I think a lot of people in America can't imagine, some of the ways that other people have to live. And we're going to lose it here in America if we're not careful.
We will.
Well, this encyclical is attacking that.
Yeah.
Among other things.
It definitely attacks that. And there's a reason everybody tries to get into America. And Americans aren't trying to get out of America.
Mm-hmm.
And if we subscribe to this idea of globalism, those reasons will be gone, and we won't have a country that everybody wants to get into. It'll be a while from now, but
the very calls by our silly bishops, among others, the very calls for open borders, especially on America's south border, demonstrates why we should not abandon how we do things. I mean, why does anybody think that there are masses of people on our south border wanting to get into America? If we change the character of who we are as a nation, then the reason for doing that will go away.
I'll tell you what, it's kind of like a woman develops a crush on her next door neighbor who is married. And he lives right, and he's honest, and he's just a good person, and that attracts her.
Everything about him that makes him the perfect husband to this woman next door is why she has a crush on him.
But the second that she's able to somehow get him into a state where he's with her, he no longer is that man.
Yeah. So she's destroyed by she's, either revealed the lie that he's not really of the character that she thought, or she's changed the character of what she had a crush on. Yeah, that's exactly what it would be like.
And it's a sad thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any more quotes you wanted to go over?
Oh, gosh, no.
There's so many in here, but I just...
Someday I should read the whole... Someday, yeah. Some month I should read the whole thing. But like I said, I have been really... feeling the need to avoid the things that I know are going to make me cringe with oh gosh, you idiot, just shut up, or that kind of stuff. And this encyclical is one of them. Politics.
Yeah, I did. I purposely did not watch the debate tonight between Pence and
have me that way too. Yeah, although I heard they're 12 feet apart. And even though they're 12 feet apart, they have these plexiglass shields. One of them needs to turn to the other and just say, "Isn't this stupid?"
If I were Mike Pence, I would run across the stage and give her a big kiss on the lips. That would be so funny. Or just come over and kind of like bumbling around and shake her hand and say, hey, how you doing?
Okay, let's get on with this.
That's something you could imagine Trump doing.
Yep.
Kind of what's his name? Rodney Dangerfield in Caddyshack.
Right, yeah. Oh, by the way, I saw a Babylon Bee headline. You know the Babylon Bee is, right? The political satire headlines. Anyway,
so like an Onion?
Kind of like the Onion, but different, yeah. I saw a Babylon Bee headline. It was, let's see, I forget which disease it was. I could probably find it. Oh, they've got a lot of them. I don't usually go onto their feed and look at it. I just see what comes up on my feed. Here it is. Trump injects himself with Ebola so he can defeat that next. Oh.
Okay, I'm back. I had to go get coffee while he was looking that up, and you missed
did laugh
my
when
laughter.
I said it.
The funny thing is, when were you the one who sent the text regarding him having COVID?
Yeah. Oh, and you said...
Hold on, I'm going to go look at the text.
Your response was, yeah, if that happened, yeah, go ahead and read your text.
All right. I hear the first family has the China virus. And I said, if they did, Trump would nuke China and put a chokehold on presidency with everything until everyone felt better.
Yeah. That would have been a good Babylon Bee headline, too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, the whole thing is... there were some people who were, felt devastated by the fact that Trump had the China virus, and
why?
Okay.
I guess other than his age, he's like the perfect one to get it because he's going to recover.
Yeah, he's fit.
He'll be
fine. I never for one second thought that he was in any danger. I thought, all that it does is add some kind of political thing because it's going to be politicized, and now they're going to say we can't vote for the new Supreme Court nominee
because Trump has coronavirus.
I'm telling you, because the whole White House is getting
my mind
China
fails
virus.
to draw that line between the.
They're going to say we can't have the hearings and we can't ask her questions because everybody has coronavirus.
Oh, okay, yeah. You know what? That's true. That's probably going to be their out. Although, if McConnell holds true, he said that he would push for the confirmation hearings and make them happen. Well, let's hope he has the backbone to live up to that.
Well, I guess that kind of takes us into current events.
Yeah.
And that was one current event that Trump gets COVID-19.
Oh.
I never thought it was a big deal. I thought, so what?
Yep.
Okay, check this out. The Supreme Court of Ireland has ruled that Subway bread cannot be classified as bread because it's too high in sugar. So they got to tax it as a candy.
Okay, wait a minute. I think you're taking my spot. That should be. I didn't have that. I didn't have that queued up, but that should have been a nonsense news. So who is it that's doing this?
Ireland.
The
Supreme Court of Ireland has ruled. And apparently, their Supreme Court is a lot like American Supreme Court, wherein they're the ones who write the laws.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Subway's bread can't be classified as bread because it has higher sugar content than bread.
It has to be classified
and they're also bread experts because they know how much sugar bread has.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be taxed at 13.5%.
Because it's candy.
Yeah. Huh.
Go figure. Well, you knew that Ireland was had gone ahead and
voted in
joined
abortion.
the whole.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking the whole gay thing that they did.
What'd they do there?
Was it the Supreme Court or was it the whole? Was it like a referendum? I forget. It was. Yeah, they approved gay marriage or something like that a few years ago.
Okay. I did not. I don't
then,
remember
the abortion thing.
But
so, yep,
the abortion
Ireland
thing just broke my heart. I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
But
Ireland.
once they did the gay marriage, abortion wasn't going to be far behind.
Yeah,
they're of a piece.
Well, check this out. According to a study from researchers at University of California, Venus would be able to support life if Jupiter hadn't altered its orbit around the sun 4 billion years ago.
So Venus used to have a different orbit 4 billion years ago?
That's what they're saying.
4 billion years
ago.
Years ago.
So
were they able to like take their current orbits and the anomalies of their orbits and sort of back calculate 4 billion years that some event
I have
happened?
no idea how they know some of these things, and I have no idea if they know some of these things. I mean, some of these things are so outlandish, it's like, okay, I guess maybe you could say, you can look at things like the moon and say, okay, here's what happened. Venus was closer to Jupiter, and Jupiter threw its orbit off, and it crashed into Earth, and that's what created our moon, and then it went in closer to the sun and found a good, stable place there.
Is that what they're saying? That our moon is a result of a Venus-Earth? Oh, okay.
No, I'm just... these are the kinds of things that I hear them say, and I just... It's like, well, all right. I guess.
Is this one of those? I don't. You're looking at the report. I'm not. Is this one of those that it's like filtered through several layers and at the initial it's just like some speculation by some cosmologists or something? I'm
pretty sure. Yeah.
Okay.
But somebody was paid.
There are some really cool things that we
California.
find in space, but I think sometimes people tend to overstate the claims of cosmologists. And the cosmologists are probably cringing when people do that.
They get grant money and they have to publish something. Mm-hmm. Something amazing.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Everybody's going to say, oh, wow.
Wow, yeah.
Speaking of planets, the Washington State University is saying that there are 24 possible exoplanets that are super habitable outside our solar system.
Wow.
I don't know what super habitable means.
Yeah. Is that inhabitable or like you could inhabit the atmosphere above them? Like super above?
Yeah. Oh.
Like, like the Cloud City and what was the planet?
Yeah.
Or the moons are habitable maybe. Maybe that's what it means. So I was thinking like the Cloud City on what's the planet on Star Wars where they had the Cloud City where I
can't remember the name
Han
of
Solo
that.
was betrayed. There's some Star Wars geek out there just like cringing because we don't know that.
Tabana. It is a gas mining colony, remember?
Oh, that's right.
And it was Cloud City.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it's called Cloud City.
Well, that's why I can't remember the name then.
Yeah. Okay.
Or does it just mean really, really inhabitable?
Super
I'm
inhabitable.
sure that's
Let's
not
find
that
out
what
what
it
that means.
Okay, super habitable planet. Wikipedia, which on science stuff is usually pretty good, is a type of exoplanet or exomoon that may be better suited than Earth for the emergence and evolution of life. Okay, so it doesn't mean we could go live there, but it means that the environment is, has the things that scientists imagine would have been useful in the emergence of life on Earth.
Okay.
That's what it means.
Okay, so it's not habitable. It's super habitable because we don't know if anything could be.
Because I mean, scientists think
there.
like the environment when life started out on Earth is one that scientists think the Earth had when life started out is one that would be pretty darn hostile to life as we know it now.
Right.
So okay.
And it had to. Okay. And as far as we know, they could be habitable.
Yep. Okay.
When we can get there, we'll find out.
Yeah, that's right. We will. One day we will know.
Let's see. Mars makes its closest approach to Earth since 2018. It will not get closer than it is now until 2035.
Oh, wow.
Now, here's the funny thing. I think several days ago we were looking at and we're in the city. You can't really see. All you can really see a couple really bright stars and the planets, Mars, Saturn, and Venus. And we had looked at Jupiter and Saturn, and we said, okay, where's Mars? And then I said, oh, there it is right there. You can barely see it. I guess it was almost as dark as Saturn.
Okay.
And Jupiter, of course, is always like the brightest you can see here. So a couple days later, I had walked next door to give Mom some food, and I saw Mars, and I thought it was Jupiter. I thought Jupiter's not supposed to be there. And I looked over, and no, it wasn't there. Jupiter was over at another spot.
Real bright?
Mars was so bright that I mistakenly thought it was Jupiter. I think it was brighter than Jupiter.
Over the course of a couple of days, it grew in brightness?
It could be that it was higher up in the sky, and maybe that's what it was.
Right. Because by the horizon, it's going to look dimmer because of the light.
But I've never seen it look that different, and I've never seen it
pollution.
I've never seen it brighter than Jupiter, and it was at this point. And I don't know. It could have been because of the way the sun was hitting Jupiter and Mars. I don't know what it was. All I know is that sucker was bright, and I remember seeing that. And a couple days later, I see this in the news. So maybe that explains it.
Yeah, there's certainly something there.
Okay, President Emmanuel Macron in France.
Yeah.
He has announced a crackdown on Islamist separatism.
Okay.
I assume he's talking about Islamists who want to make France a Muslim country.
Something like that, yeah.
Or
he's talking about carve out a part of France and live a Muslim existence themselves as a separate country or something.
Yeah. So he's introduced a bill that would attack Islamist separatism. It'll ban certain ban on foreign imams. I don't know if that's imam or imam. Okay. Yeah. And it would put restrictions on homeschooling.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, that's something, because we're all for homeschooling. But you think about it, in certain countries and in certain situations, homeschooling can be a threat if it's, to generate like Islamist militants or something like that.
Right. So, I don't know. The thing is, they invited this trouble in when they joined EU and when they erased
that's right.
any kind of restrictions on immigration.
Border erasure is leading to problems. Again, absolutely. I mean, if you want to be a federation of nations, great, but don't lose your national identity in it.
Right. The thing is, no one's talking about it, but this is going on all over Europe. They're fighting these extreme Islamists who are doing these things all over Europe, and I don't know what to say about them. They threw open their borders, and this is what happens. Cineworld has announced it is temporarily shutting down all its cinemas in the U.S. and in the United Kingdom. Because of, I guess they lost so much money.
Is it
Cineworld is a it's a theater chain,
theater,
I guess.
Cineworld. Yeah. Okay, like AMC or Regal or whatever. Okay.
Yeah. So they're I don't know. They lost so much money because of the COVID, and now they are going to shut down a bunch of stuff.
That's the other thing. I think if it had not, I'm thinking about like the masks and stuff, and. Somebody was talking about some pictures that he saw from the 1918 flu epidemic. And by the way, just to put things in perspective, how many Americans do we think we've lost to COVID? Maybe a couple 100,000? Mm-hmm. The 1918 flu epidemic cost America 670,000 lives. And think of that as a percent of the population in America at the time.
Wow.
Way more significant than this one, at least so far.
And on top of that, it probably wasn't misreported
Yeah, it was
the way it
probably
is here.
accurately reported. Now, the thing is, people did wear masks. The guy who was talking, actually, you know what? I think it was Joe Sixpack who was talking about it. He said he saw pictures. He's got pictures that show, for example, some guys at a barber. The barbers are wearing masks, and the guys getting their haircut are wearing masks. But the point he was making is the one thing people didn't do was stop going to work. And,
right.
you know, I feel like if we had said, no, we're going to keep going to work, but let's go ahead and wear masks just in case, I think I would have even been okay with the whole masks thing. I mean, as it is, I never wear a mask. But,
possibly.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like there was a different attitude towards it back then. But that got me to thinking about movie theaters. I mean, you know, there's no reason that they should have had to shut down. Let people go in, let them wear masks or whatever. But,
yeah.
You know, just one more example of businesses going under. Now, big movie theater chains like that, you know, I know that there are people out there who are find it hard to feel sorry for them. Well, it's just a big chain. Mm-hmm. There's no actual person involved. Well, you know, that's not true because they employed people.
5,500 jobs.
Yeah. That's people's livelihoods going away. Those are families that might depend on those. Some of them are teenagers, to be sure, but there are families out there who are depending on those jobs.
I would rather see those people working for small businesses, but the small businesses all shut down. There are no small businesses.
Yeah, they were part of the victims of the China virus panic.
This is insane.
So, yeah. Anyway,
okay. Check this out. In Israel, the government announces it will ban the animal fur trade.
Huh.
Utilizing the skin and fur of wildlife for the fashion industry is immoral, says Environmental Protection Minister Gila Gamaliel.
Yeah, whatever. So no more mink coats for Israeli
I guess so.
Women. Sorry, women, you gotta go with their fake mink.
Go fake. You know how many fake minks had to die to make that coat? I don't know. People, I didn't know Israel was so crazy. I thought they were a little bit less crazy than America.
Yeah,
but I guess not.
Here's the thing. You think of Israel? What's going on with Israel? Everything's going on with Israel. They're in a constant struggle for their very identity. Mm-hmm. Why do they have time to do crap like that?
Yeah, they're fighting Palestinians. They're shooting it out, and they're worried about fur trade.
Oh, by the way, fur trade, we're going to make that illegal. It's like, okay,
it's
somebody manipulated himself into a position in that country that the position just didn't need to be there.
Yeah.
I think there was probably some simony involved in that one, or simony, however you pronounce it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and Vatican City announces as of October 7th, it will be mandatory to wear a mask. It'll be mandated to wear a mask.
As of October 7th.
Outdoors.
Okay,
yeah,
well, that's
even
today.
Outdoors. Okay.
By the way,
from here on in, if you go outdoors in the Vatican City,
you gotta wear a mask.
You have to wear a mask.
I wonder if there's anybody going to be man enough to say, nope, not going to do it. What are the Swiss Guard going to come and arrest you then?
I guess so.
Oh well. Anyway,
I wonder if he's going to open his borders.
Yeah, open your borders and then demand masks. By the way, today, everybody, just so you know, October 7th is the feast of the Blessed Virgin Mary of the Holy Rosary.
Oh, okay. That's what I did not know that, but there was a lot of mention of Mary in the morning prayers.
Oh, right.
I noticed.
That's why.
So, okay. Ex-police officer Derek Chauvin has been released on bail.
And this
guy's been in jail all this time. He's the one who was charged with George Floyd's death.
That one?
The guy with his knee on his neck.
The guy that they found out died not because of the knee on his neck.
Right.
I mean, okay.
Because of all the drugs he took.
I mean, charge him with violation of protocol if that's what he did. But
he's been in jail all that time.
Wow. I bet they say, well, it's because we couldn't process things through the courts because of COVID.
Oh, you know what? That's going on all over.
Yeah, I know. It's affecting my family. I won't get into it, but it's affecting my family.
Okay. Okay, well, he's finally out. How long has it been? Several months.
Oh, gosh. But
that's all the news I got.
Okay, well, I got a couple of... May 25th, by the way. Couple of lighthearted things. One, somebody actually got into a fight aboard an airline because somebody wasn't wearing a mask. And when you read the description, it's like the guy who was wearing the mask, who was like fighting with him, I mean,
yeah,
he was like insane. I mean, it's like I don't know, like these mask wearers are like, it's like you put a mask on and it turns you into a weird monster, like you're deranged or something like that. And
it's
how you,
like,
it's like seeing somebody without a mask. It turns you from Dr. Jekyll into Mr. Hyde or something. It's weird.
I think these masks have people on Twitter who say just nasty, disgusting, terrible things. But in real life, they don't act that way. But the masks are turning them into their Twitter personality. That
could be. It's like, oh, I've got the mask on now. I can be nasty to everybody.
Yeah. It's having a terrible effect, I think. People need to stop wearing their masks. People need to refuse. I think it's having a very bad effect on a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree. It's like you put it when you're going to commit a crime, you put a mask on.
Mm-hmm. So what was it? Just two guys fighting it? Were they duking it?
Well, out, yeah. I mean, the guy was on, and the flight attendant was trying to get him to wear a mask, and he said, well, the guy in front of him turned around and started cussing at him, calling him all kinds of names. I don't know, spit on him or something like that. And so then, they called security. Well, then it's like the guy who was, being forced off the plane kind of elbowed the guy that had been jeering at him and spitting him and said, it's just his fault that I'm being asked to leave anyway. Well, then the guy who was wearing the mask, was grabbing his hair and all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, it's like, it's like the mask wearer was insane.
Yeah. I hear about mask wearers going after people, and every time I hear about it or see it, it's always someone going after some little old lady or some small guy. Mm-hmm. I'm waiting for somebody to say something to me.
Yeah.
Of course, with my
I was
luck,
in Michigan.
it's going to be somebody, giant...
I was in a store, and a woman actually said, where's your mask? Because in Michigan, they're a little more serious about that.
Uh-huh.
I said, it's in my pocket. And then I was going into Sam's Club the other day. They've got these people posted there do you have a mask on? I pulled it out of my pocket. I said, or do you have a mask? You have a mask?
Yeah.
I pulled it out of my pocket, showed it to her, and stuck it back in my pocket. But, I decided if anybody actually really challenges me, I'll just say I have a condition. It's called AWM. And they can go look it up. Maybe they'll find out it means aversion to wearing masks.
Aversion to wearing masks. I tried to go to Goodwill, and some Karen was going, "You're wearing your mask, sir. You gotta wear a mask." I said, "I can't. I have a condition." And she said, "What's your condition?" I said, "I'm not retarded." You gotta wear a mask, sir. I just said, all right, fine. I'll just leave. Give my money to someone else.
That's funny. I'm waiting for someone to really challenge me. I said, and I'll say, well, can it be made out of anything? And when they say yes, I'll just put my hand over my mouth.
Yeah.
My mouth.
Say, what kind of mask? You got to lead them there. What kind of mask?
I know.
What does it?
Can it be
is there
made of
any
anything?
Restrictions?
Yeah.
Or
the other one,
okay.
I've got in my pocket, I don't always carry it, but sometimes I carry in my pocket, I've got this mosquito net hood that goes over your whole head, but it's just a mosquito net. So I'm waiting. Sometime I'll pull that out and put it on for someone.
I have one like a hairnet.
Oh, there you go.
Beards and mustaches.
Yeah.
And I'll pull that out and put it on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what else we got?
Okay. So apparently raccoons are making trouble for reporters on the White House lawn.
Raccoons?
Raccoons. CNN's Joe Johns was on camera shooting a live spot for New Day when a raccoon attempted to creep into the frame. In response, Johns threw an object at the critter and hollered, "Get!" as he tried to salvage his footage. Frickin' raccoons, man!
He attacked a raccoon.
Yeah,
attacked a raccoon on national television.
Frickin' raccoons! He exclaimed in the clip as he repeatedly turned away from the camera to check for further advances. Again, that's the second time. Used the Lord's name a couple times. I won't repeat it. Anyway, he had to clarify no animals were harmed when he threw something to scare it off.
So the raccoon didn't run.
I guess they've been there bugging these reporters for a couple of weeks now. I wonder if Trump purposely went and bought some raccoons and released them.
Was this guy a liberal?
Well, he works for CNN, so, you know.
Okay. Because I was going to... Okay, look, if you were a conservative... I mean, I think most conservatives would have stopped and said, "Oh, cool, a raccoon!
Hey, there's a raccoon! Yeah, wow!
You know,
and I mean,
hey, let's go look at
it. Hey, there's a raccoon! Shine the camera over there. Let's see what he does." Exactly. They would have been like,
"That's
this
how.
Is neat."
That's the normal reaction."
Yeah,
but a liberal has a different kind of reaction.
That's right.
They throw things at it.
Exactly.
Wow.
There you go. Okay. And last, I wish I had a Walmart story, but I don't. But this is kind of funny. Okay, so I don't watch Disney's Toy Story movies. I have no idea what the stories are. I think I saw some of the first one when the kids were watching it.
I saw the first one.
Okay, so the headline is, Evel Knievel's son sues Disney over Toy Story 4 character. His quote is, "Evel Knievel did not thrill millions, break his bones, and spill his blood just so Disney could make money." Evel's son is named Kelly, and he has held the publicity rights to his father's name since 1998, according to a U.S. District Court filing in Las Vegas. And the federal trademark infringement lawsuit claims that Disney-owned Pixar did not ask permission to use his father's likeness when creating character Duke Kaboom. So it's
Does Duke Kaboom look like Evel Knievel, I guess?
I think it's more like the shots of things like jumping over school buses and the motorcycle and stuff like that. It's one of those clear character homages. It's like,
yeah,
it's not clear that it's, whether it's a homage versus a, just capitalizing on somebody's life.
Well, it's like,
I mean,
The Simpsons would have people that look something like Pinocchio or another popular Disney character.
Exactly.
Here's the thing. I hope he wins.
That would be nice.
Disney, they are the ones who have locked up almost everything in copyrights.
Yeah, they're the ones who keep pushing for the copyright extensions.
Yeah.
It would be nice to see them lose this. It's like I say, Disney ruining, how do I say that? Ruining fairy tales for every generation.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I hope he wins, though.
Yep, good luck.
Is he going to sue us for talking about Evel Knievel?
I'll have to check. Let me see when this story
We said the name like 20 times.
What's that?
Evel Knievel.
Yeah, but we're doing it to try to support him.
Yeah. Well.
All right, September 25th is when the story came out. So I'm going to check back up and keep checking over the months and see whether he prevails.
Okay.
Good luck, Kelly.
Yeah. Kelly Knievel.
Kelly Knievel. That's kind of a cool name, don't you think?
Yeah, that is a cool name. I wish my name were Knievel.
Yeah.
Speaking of cool names, I went to this school. It was a Catholic school, kind of close to the heart. It was in Northside, I think. Mm-hmm. And I had to meet with, I guess, the vice principal or the principal, and he's going to show me what printer to fix. and this giant guy, the guy was like twice as big as Jason, comes out, and his name is Jason, and I'm like, hi, I'm Eric, and he says, hi, I'm Jason, get this, Jason Fight Master.
Jason what? Fight Master?
Fight Master. Can you imagine having that name?
The name Fight Master. Well, you gotta be big.
Yeah. And he was every bit as big as the name. It was
and
awesome.
It was just,
I was
that was
like,
really
that
his
is
name.
so
I mean,
cool.
like Perlmutter or something like that. That was really his name.
Yeah, that was his
Fight
name.
Master. Huh, how about that?
He told me, I didn't believe him at first. I was like, really? He said, yeah. I said, that is such a cool name.
That is a cool name.
Fight Master. I wish I had that name.
Jason Fight Master.
Be like Eric Ass Kicker or something like that.
That's right.
Jeez. Okay. What time is it? We're out of things. I gotta go to bed.
Yeah, it's after 11. All right, and we've got an hour and a half. We're good.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, think about what we said, folks.
And always,
circle
the beads.
Keep praying that rosary, and we'll see
Especially
you next week.
Today. You've got a 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't, go pray one. I've said mine.
I didn't say mine. Which is terrible because
fall asleep
I
saying it.
drove out of town. I don't know why.
If you fall asleep saying it, the angels finish it for you.
That's what Mom always told us.
We learned that when we were kids.
Yeah. If you fall asleep saying the rosary, the angels say it for you. But the problem is that became the way I fall asleep. I mean, that's how I fall asleep.
There are better ways. I mean, there are worse ways to fall asleep. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you next week, folks.
Bye, guys.